I always loved helping people transform, started with the before and after makeover, but then the
Right.
before and after weight loss. And self-love isn't something I could take a before and after picture of, but that impact has been so much greater than, anything that makeup or weight loss could do.
Welcome to Linda's Corner, where we bring more hope, healing, and happiness to the world. My name is Linda Bjork, and today we're going to be talking about looking great and loving ourselves. I'm delighted to welcome Misty Laboy. Misty is a makeup artist, weight loss advisor, and self-love mentor. You can reach Misty at her website, mistylaboy.com, and I'll include a link in the show notes. Welcome, Misty. I'm so glad that you could join with me today.
Hi, Linda. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on your podcast.
Thank you. And I'm excited to be talking about this because this applies to all of us, especially women. We want to look good. We want to feel good. And I checked out your website and I loved being greeted with this giant message that said, "Hello, gorgeous soul. Are you ready to fall in love with yourself?" And I thought, yeah, yes, I am. So can you help me today to fall in love with myself? And I'm excited to be talking about it, not only from the outside, but from the inside out. So let's get talking about how to make that happen.
Yes, absolutely. I am very passionate about helping people, women especially. But my journey started about 15 years ago. I became a makeup artist and I was, helping people look in the mirror and smile and feel good about themselves. And, I enjoyed that. And that kind of led me into a health and wellness aspect. And I lost about 65 pounds on a great program that I share with people. And I've helped many people lose weight. So we've got the outside part. And about 3 years ago, I was still feeling like something was missing. And I thought, I was feeling like I was never going to be happy. I was never truly going to be happy. I didn't know what it was. I tried um, really to self-medicate in many ways. I was doing retail therapy and I had plenty of wine and it just nothing seemed to quite fulfill me. And it wasn't until during the pandemic when I had extra time on my hands that I was able to start to recognize that what was missing was my self-worth, my self-acceptance, and my self-love. And that's sometimes hard for people to recognize. Especially as women, we go about our lives and we're busy just helping other people. And, especially moms, we have our kids and, we stay really busy and we're not focused on ourselves. And during the pandemic, I had the opportunity to really actually focus on myself for a change. And I thought, I looked in the mirror and I thought, okay, I lost weight. I got my makeup on point. I look good, but I still don't feel good. And, digging deeper and doing more self-reflection and journaling, I realized that I hadn't fully accepted myself. And what I mean by that is accepting the good and the bad. I could accept the good, I could accept the compliments, but there were parts about me that I didn't love. And there were even parts about my body, with self-confidence and body image that I just didn't love. And I thought, what, let me work on those things. And I spent 2 years working on those things. And it led me down this path of self-love, this beautiful journey. And I was feeling really called to share it with other women. And that's how I got here.
Yay. Okay. I loved every piece of that story. And you mentioned twice about looking in the mirror. And when we look in the mirror, what do we see? And I loved how you talked about, I have got my makeup on point, and when I look in the mirror, I want to smile. And that makes a huge difference because how many of us, when we look in the mirror, it's like, let's move along. And so to be able to look at yourself and smile. And a lot of us believe that, you know what, I'm going to look in that mirror and I'm going to smile and I'm going to feel good when. And then you can fill in the blank. It's like when I learn how to apply my makeup in such a perfect way, or it's when I've lost this much weight and I have gained the size of my dreams and I look, then I'm going to feel awesome. And I
Right.
think that getting our body into shape and putting our makeup on and taking care of our hair, I think these are wonderful things. They're
But they're
ways to show,
conditions.
yeah, they're ways to show respect for ourselves, that it shows that I care about me and that I'm worth something. But it can also serve kind of as a mask where it's, this is what I want to look like, but I know the real me. And the real me is not that great. I have flaws. I have flaws and maybe it's in what I've done. Maybe it's in how I look. I have these things. And so I love that you have got just a package deal coming on about how to look in that mirror and not only smile that I look good, but to smile that I feel good. So is it okay? Let's see. I'm thinking about, I would love a few weight loss tips if you wouldn't mind. So for just looking at the mirror and smiling, you've had incredible success. That 65 pounds is a lot. And so congratulations.
Thank you.
That takes discipline and it takes a lot of things. But I think it helps if we can love ourselves during the journey and not say,
Absolutely.
I will love myself when.
When.
So if you wouldn't mind, let's talk about a few of those outside things and then let's keep working inward about, okay, what makes the difference when I
Sure.
feel good?
Yes. So like the losing weight, like the weight loss tips, the best ones that I can give you are stop dieting.
Oh, I like this. Okay, give me an alternative.
They say the first three letters of diet are die, and you do feel like you're dying sometimes. And I was a yo-yo dieter. I would gain and lose the same 10, 15 pounds for 20 years. And I really got sick and tired of being sick and tired and thought like there was a part of me that felt like I was never gonna really lose the weight. And I remember, when I tried this last program that I promote, they asked me to set a goal, and a big, huge goal for me was 30 pounds. And to me, that was such a huge goal. Like I couldn't even imagine. I had never lost 30 pounds before, so I couldn't even imagine losing 30 pounds. But I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired that I was determined to make this work. I kept hearing it doesn't matter what diet or what program you do, as long as you do it and you stick to it, it'll work for you. And I had a friend who had success, and she shared the products with me, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do exactly what you tell me to do, and I'm going to follow along. And I did. And in my first 30 days, I lost 20 pounds. And I had never lost so much weight so quickly. And then I was skeptical and thought, yeah, but what happens when I stop? Which, I tell people it's like, well, what happens when you take your bra off? Okay, like you can't stop. If you want your breasts to look great, perky, you got to keep your bra on. With the weight loss, it was like I had to stop dieting, and I had to make it a lifestyle change. And I had to look at it like, how can I make this sustainable for me? I had tried like a keto diet before, and I'm a carb lover. I'm Italian. And if you would tell me I couldn't eat pizza again, like that would never work for me. So I had to find what works for me. And I encourage people to do that as well. It really isn't about the program. It's about you following and sticking to the program and not doing it because you hate your body, but because you love your body. And I thought, my body wasn't a representation of who I was. It was just the outside shell. But I wanted to improve it. And how could I improve it? So I started following this program, and it taught me about portion control. Portion control was huge. I would often eat two or three slices of pizza just because it tasted good and I could. So with portion control, I learned I can still eat pizza, but now I'm only going to eat one slice of pizza. And also with intermittent fasting, I learned about intermittent fasting, and I was able to incorporate that into the program. But portion control was really the main thing. I have an 11-year-old daughter, but when I was making her plate at 4, 5, 6 years old, I was making my plate the same size as her plate. And now it's funny, at 11, she my dinner plate. At 11, she eats plate portion sizes now larger than mine. But we do consume way more food than we realize. And if you start looking at portion sizes, you'll open a snack and you'll eat the whole thing because you think it's just one snack. But if you look at the back of it, the portion size is 2.5. So in that one snack bag that you just consumed, you really consumed two and a half portions. So I had to get good at reading labels and also learning about what was in the ingredients and what I was putting in my body, because I found the cleaner I ate, the better I felt. Taking out a lot of processed foods was really helpful. Increasing my protein. Women in general do not consume enough protein. So that was another huge thing that I had to do. But finding something that was sustainable. So people will ask me, do you still do those shakes? Well, yes, I do. Every morning for breakfast, I have a shake, and it was a much better choice than a bagel, a bowl of cereal, or any of the things that I was eating before. So I had to just really find what worked for me.
I love that. So stop dieting. And then when we have the idea that it's something that we do until we lose the weight, and then we go back to whatever it is we're doing now, that's how we get our yo-yo effect as we change the way we do things. And so I love how you said, don't tell me I can't have pasta. Don't tell me I can't have pizza, something that's going to make me feel deprived always. Let's find something that's going to work with me that I can have as a lifestyle, and then implement changes that I can do and feel good about. And I love how you said, I feel better when I do this. And so then it's almost a mental shift as well as what you're doing. It's, I'm doing this because I feel better. And there was a study done that I just loved, talking about our mental, how it affects our weight loss. And they took a group of people and they had them say, okay, we'd like you to follow this diet. And then they divided them into 3 groups. And they said, okay, you guys, if someone offers you something you're not supposed to have, you say whatever you want. And then on one of the groups, they said, we want you to say, I can't have that. And then another group, they said, we want you to say, oh, I don't eat that. And then after a while, they checked to see how they did. And it was interesting. The ones that they didn't tell them how to do anything, about half of them stuck with it. And the ones they said, I can't, they did horrible. It was worse than half. It was like 20-30% did successfully following this. But the ones who said, oh, I don't eat that, they did much better. It was more than 50%, like 70 and 80 were able to complete it, because there's something about I can't, that as soon as I say that word, it's like someone is trying to control me. I hate it. And I'm going to fight it as soon as I can. And even if it's us putting the restrictions on, that's just fascinating. I'm doing this because I like it. I'm doing this because it feels good. Well done. Congratulations. What you did obviously worked, and I'm so happy for you. And the advice you gave is going to be able to help anybody who listens and applies. And that's the trick, is we have to learn it and do it. And those two things together are what make all of the change. Okay, so you said you did all of these awesome things, and now you're looking in the mirror and had that success that everybody wants, and it still wasn't enough. So let's go to the next level. What awakened you and helped make that difference, so that it's not just, I am my body, it's, I'm Misty, and she's awesome, and I love her, and she's worth loving.
So I would say what led to that was I was in a toxic relationship, and that toxic relationship ended, and I felt so bad about it, and I was in such a low place, and I was beating myself up about it because I still wanted to be in the relationship. The choice to end the relationship was not mine. And someone said to me, I don't understand why you would want to be in a relationship with someone who didn't want to be in a relationship with you. Like, you're worth more than that. And that really spoke to me. And, that kind of made me recognize that I wasn't really valuing myself. And, I definitely had some self-worth issues. And I mean, just the fact that I was in the toxic relationship for as long as I was, it was like I was disregarding the red flags. I'm naturally a very positive person. So I'm always looking for the best and always hopeful that things are going to change or things are going to be better. But there comes a point where you have to face reality and you have to make sure that a person's actions and words are in alignment. And it was a lot of words and not a lot of actions. And, I was dealing with some heartbreak and struggling. And the time that I was spending on that toxic relationship, once that relationship ended, I was able to spend that time working on myself. And it made me, I'm very grateful for that toxic relationship because it made me recognize what I do and I don't want in a relationship. And it made me realize that you teach people how to treat you. And it really helped me to get a better sense of self-worth and recognize that I am worthy of more and I deserve to be in a great, loving relationship. But most importantly, that great, loving relationship has to start with you.
You have just given so much food for thought and so many ways that we can take this conversation. I really appreciate you sharing because these things matter. And how many people, how many women are in toxic relationships and thinking like you were that I'm a positive person. And being a positive person means that I'm hoping for the best and I'm seeing the best in this person. And to be able to think that way and then to feel like, but I'm not getting the results that I'm expecting is confusing. It's not clear cut. When I was a little girl and we used to watch cartoons, they would have clear-cut good guys and clear-cut bad guys, and you could tell which was which because it was all black and all white, all good, all bad. And people aren't that way. We are a mix of things, and it is good to see the potential in other people. But that does not mean that we have to be in a relationship that damages us while they are either choosing to grow or choosing not to grow. We get to choose to be in a relationship that builds us and that we can love people without becoming entangled with them. And so that distinction, I really appreciate that because I think it's very confusing for so many people, especially when the words, like you said, there was good talk. And if I can trust in the good talk, then everything would be okay. But the walk didn't match the talk, and that hurt you. And that was not something that you needed. And so I would love to talk more about this idea that we teach people how to treat us. Can you elaborate on that a little more? It is
Yeah.
so true, and yet most people don't recognize it.
Um, I would say that starts with boundaries. So I was a people pleaser and I struggled with codependency and I just wanted to make this person happy. And, unfortunately, it was at the detriment of my own happiness. But I was realizing the more I gave, the more he took. And the more I gave, the more he took. And I I wasn't getting anything in return. It wasn't a balanced relationship. And in learning about attachment and love, that was another thing that really kind of opened my eyes. I think so many people they think it's love, they think they're in love, but it's really attachment. And I learned a lot about different attachment theories, and that's for another day. But that kind of led me to setting boundaries. And I realized that I hadn't set boundaries with a lot of people in my life, including my children, my family, and especially with this toxic relationship. So I had to start setting boundaries and deciding what I was going to tolerate and what I wasn't going to tolerate and what I was going to put up with and how I was going to protect myself and my energy. And a lot of times when you set boundaries, people don't like that. they push back because here I was giving and giving, giving. I had a problem saying no. So I was saying yes and trying to figure out how to keep my word and be the yes, even when I was struggling to hold it all together myself. So setting those boundaries really is the first start of teaching people how to treat you. And the other thing is, if you're not setting boundaries, there's a lack of respect for yourself. So by setting the boundaries, I was learning to trust myself and respect myself. It became a part of my self-care and self-love. But I would say like that is the first step, because people won't respect you if you don't respect yourself. And setting those boundaries is a clear way of showing people how you want to be treated and what you will or won't tolerate.
Wow. And that is so magical. The idea I keep hearing in my mind, this desire to do good and be good, and how that gets a little bit twisted in the way that we interact with people. I want to be a yes person. I want to please. I want to keep my word. These are all good, positive things. And then when you try to make a change, it's like, but I'm doing good things. And I think understanding our interpretation of what doing good and being good looks like and what it feels like is important. And then we can kind of modify it a little bit and say, wow, I'm trying to do good and be good, but it's not being reciprocated. So in order for me to be myself, I'm going to have to establish some rules here and say, this is what I expect. And when it's new, when it's a change, people are definitely going to push back because it's so much easier to just walk all over you and to make you be my slave and you can do whatever I want. I like that plan. But when you say no, that's a shock. It's like that. There's
That's
a
a
wall
complete
there.
sentence. No is a complete sentence. And that was something I had to learn. I felt like I had to always explain myself. And, I learned that no is a complete sentence. I don't owe anyone an explanation. And I can just say no without having to over explain or justify my actions.
What an excellent point to make. Because I think often, again, especially as women, we have a tendency to want to justify, well, I can't do that because, and then have a reason that is true and also big enough that they're going to accept it. And the reality just is, no, because I choose, because this is me. And so, well done. No is a complete sentence. It's okay to say no. It's okay to set those boundaries. And setting those boundaries is a part of doing good and being good. And
To
so
yourself, right?
we can change the boundaries a little bit. I've heard it said that when we say yes, we're also saying no. But we're saying yes to this, but that means my time, my energy, my resources can't be used for something else. And so there's some choices that we make when we say yes that we don't often think about.
Mhm.
I'm just saying yes. So, wow, well done. Creating boundaries. Oh, would you mind giving us a specific example of something that if I had asked you and your knee-jerk reaction before would have been yes, and now you're saying, no.
Yes, if someone would ask me for a favor, a ride somewhere, or they needed me to do something with them or go somewhere, I would immediately say yes. And now I take a moment to pause and think, can I really fit this into my schedule without stressing myself out? Like what you said, what am I going to be saying no to if I say yes to this? Is it a priority to me and to that person? These are kind of reflection questions that I ask myself before I immediately say yes. And really, it comes down to, do I really want to do this? Because I'm sacrificing myself and my happiness by doing things that I don't want to do. So, no, mom, I don't want to go to, so and so's baby shower where I would have felt obligated to go before. But personally, like I don't enjoy baby showers and I don't enjoy spending my entire day watching someone open, gifts. Like that's not my idea of a good time. And doing it out of obligation or doing it because I was guilted to do it is not the right reason to do it. So now I have a boundary there. I don't do things that I don't want to do. If it's not a heck yes, then it's a no.
That's a great line. If it's not a heck yes, then it is a no. And I love that. I think we do a lot of things out of guilt and out of duty, out of expectation. And it's so much better when we're able to do things from a place of love.
Absolutely.
And I think as we fill ourselves with love, then we're able to let that spill over so that when I do go to something, when I attend something, when I'm visiting with someone, then it's because I want to be here.
Right.
And hopefully you can feel that I want to be here. And as we're having this conversation, I'm here because I love what I do. I love meeting wonderful people like yourself who are interesting and have these great stories to share. And I love it. I love what I do. So thank you. And thank you for sharing all of these things. So I'm thinking now you're going through this process. I'd like to go back, if it's okay, just a little bit to that relationship again. I really appreciated when you said this was hard, but I'm grateful for it. It was good. This was the thing that kind of flipped the switch and made me rethink what I'm doing and why I'm doing and who I am. And I think that matters because when we go through hard things, we can look at it a couple different ways. One, it's, oh, there it is again, more hard things. I can't do anything about it. It's terrible. Hard things always happen to me. Or it can be that chance to wake up a little bit and to recognize I might need to make a little course correction and rethink things. So I was just very impressed that you were able to do that. And have you been able to heal and move on? Are you feeling comfortable?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I believe we create our own reality and we attract things and people into our lives. So, I had to look at this relationship and see, we co-create relationships. So I had to own my part in it. It wasn't all toxic just because of this partner. I definitely played a role in it. So in order to heal that, I had to own my part in it. And the fact that I didn't set boundaries and that I was trying to, be a people pleaser and I just wanted the love from him that he wasn't giving. So I was just trying harder and harder to get the love and trying to show him more love and it just wasn't working and I had to pull back from it and recognize that I played a part in that. And also, when you're in a difficult situation, a lot of times it's hard to see how you got there and the role that you played in it and the lessons that there are to learn. And, now I kind of have a different mindset about it. So I can do more self-reflection and look at a situation and say, okay, I'm not happy with the situation. Like, what's really going on here? What's the lesson? Especially when you find yourself in a cycle where things keep happening. They keep happening. Like this keeps happening to me. Okay, well, why does it keep happening? Like dig deeper and discover like what part you're playing in this. You are playing a part in inviting that to keep happening. And there's a lesson that you haven't learned yet. And really just looking for the lesson.
that is so amazing. You have just given us the most important golden nugget, I think, of the whole day. And that is finding and kind of separating through what part is my responsibility, or I could even say my fault, but mine. What part do I need to own? And what part is not mine? Because I'm imagining I'm in a relationship and I'm doing my best to make this person love me. And he's not reciprocating. He's not loving me. So sometimes we look at that and think, okay, so my part, my fault is that I didn't do enough, or that I'm not lovable, or that I'm not good enough, when none of those reasons are actually what is your responsibility.
Right.
The part that is your responsibility is, how did I attract this? how did I allow this? What patterns in me are recreating this kind of a cycle that's bringing these toxic people into my life? And I think that distinction is very important because the go-to is, well, that means I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. I'm not lovable. When that is not the message at all. When we're talking about owning it, it's going back to that question of, why didn't I set a boundary? Why
Why
am
was I trying so hard to get someone to love me? Like you shouldn't have to try hard. Like you are lovable just as you are. And I had to recognize that, you know, there are people that don't love me, and that has nothing to do with me because I am lovable just the way I am. So those people aren't for me. And no, I don't want to be in a relationship or try to be in a relationship where someone doesn't want to be an equal part or someone doesn't want to reciprocate. That's not valuing myself.
Oh, wow. And that takes opening up your eyes a little bit because your world can be focused on that one person. Why doesn't this person love me? Why isn't this person giving me what I want? And then instead of opening up and saying, but I am lovable, I am worthy, I do have value, and there are people who love me, and there are people who can see that. So I'm going to choose to associate with these kinds of people, the people who respect me, the people who see me, the people who love me. And love doesn't require a reason. Just like you said, no is a sentence. Love also doesn't require a justification or a reason. You just love.
Right.
So that is so huge. Well done. I am so proud of you for being able to wake up and recognize that cycle so that doesn't repeat itself again.
Right.
Because I loved how you mentioned we find ourselves in patterns that just follow a cycle. It's like you choose someone and they're not a good fit. They're not nice to you. And so you get out of that relationship thinking, oh, they're the problem. And then when we get into another relationship, and then the same thing starts happening. And it's when we see these patterns that we have to recognize, or if we want the pattern to end, we need to recognize there is a common denominator. There is something about
Yes.
me that is attracting this or allowing this. And that's beautiful. Because it takes courage because it's kind of easier just to say I'm the victim and just these jerks
Right.
keep coming into my life, rather than saying, I have a role to play. What is that? And can I correct it? So let's go here. What kind of just the course correction was recognizing? You said you made boundaries
Yeah.
and then recognize, hey, wait a minute. I am awesome.
Well, how to get radically honest with myself first and acknowledge the good and the bad in me, kind of going back to that self-acceptance. Like, I'm not perfect. We're human. None of us are perfect. But, what role did I play? And once I owned that, I could get myself out of victim mentality. Like you said, it's easy to be the victim. And yes, this man treated me poorly, but I allowed him to treat me poorly. So it's just recognizing it. And I feel like you can't make changes. You can't break the cycle until you recognize that there is a cycle and you're part in the cycle. And then you can start taking steps like setting boundaries and doing things differently to get differently.
Do different to get different. I love that. I love that. That's amazing. This has been so fun. We've started with makeup and weight loss and getting all the way. This is like a whole body makeover from the inside out and all of the pieces, parts. And I love it because then when you're to that place, it's like you can truly be happy and peaceful and joyful. And once again, when we look in the mirror, we can smile.
Yes. I always loved helping people transform, started with the before and after makeover, but then the
Right.
before and after weight loss. And self-love isn't something I could take a before and after picture of, but that impact has been so much greater than, anything that makeup or weight loss could do.
And I love that. Misty, is there anything else you want to make sure that we cover before we close today?
I want to say that when you truly love yourself unconditionally and you fully accept yourself, flaws and all, things will change for you. Your life will change. You will break patterns. You will stop seeking validation externally. You won't need a partner because you'll recognize that everything that you need is within you. So there's so much empowerment that I just feel like so many people don't know about. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I want to just help people to recognize their self-worth and to be able to fully love themselves because it really is life-changing. And you will truly be happy, once you get to that point.
I appreciate so much you bringing that up. And that's so important. I kind of stopped a little bit on the accepting responsibility without the completion of the things get better. Everything changes. When we expect to be treated with respect, people treat us with respect. It changes the way that other people interact with us. And so we make the changes within ourselves, but it doesn't only affect us. It affects the people around us and our experience. So thank you so much for completing that thought because it matters. Otherwise, is it worth it? I mean, is it worth it just to wake up? Not if I don't get better results. Not if I don't feel better. Not if I'm not happy. So again, thank you. That was very important. I appreciate it.
Yes. And also I'd like to mention that on my website, I do have a quiz. It's about 5 love locks, and it's for you to find out what your love lock is. And a love lock represents common challenges that women face on their self-love journey. And it will help you gain insights into your key or how to release these barriers, embrace a healthier, more fulfilling relationship with yourself, and truly find out what's keeping you from fully loving yourself and accepting yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll make sure to have that link included so that people can find it and take that quiz. So again, Misty, thank you. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
In closing, I'd like to share a quote by Coco Chanel. She said, "Beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself." Today, I invite our listeners to feel beautiful as you fall in love with yourself. See you next time on Linda's Corner.
Thanks for listening. Please share and subscribe to help us reach new listeners. And if you'd like to heal your life from the inside out, there is a free video series at hopeforhealingfoundation.org. Just click on the free stuff tab. I also invite you to grab a copy of one of my books, like Crushed, A Journey Through Depression, and You Got This, an action plan to calm fear, anxiety, worry, and stress. See you next time on Linda's Corner.